Before we start, I want to give some context as to why this video even exists. Recently, at the time of making this, it was the 2022 Game Awards, and well, Sonic Frontiers was robbed of a nomination for its frankly incredible soundtrack. However, it was also nominated for Player's Voice for the best game of that year, solely based on player votes. It made it to the final round and was in the lead, and then some free-to-play anime mobile game from 3 years ago ended up taking the W, much to Jeff's sadness.
The Game Award goes to Genshin Impact.
So, is Genshin Impact truly better than Sonic Frontiers, as this result would lead you to believe? Well, I'm putting my biases aside and taking a look. I played Genshin Impact, so you don't have to. The game opens with Infinite from Sonic Forces murdering these characters that I think are brother and sister. You get to choose which one you want to play as, and I chose the sister because, you know, boobies. You also get Phantom Rubied, and the game begins with an annoying-ass fairy thing that refers to itself in the third person, talking to you.
Yeah, Paimon really owes you for that. Otherwise, Paimon likely would have drowned. So Paimon will do her best to be a great guide.
I hate this thing. And thus begins the world's slowest paced tutorial, but it's soon over. Shortly after, a bit more tutorial boredom, you have to talk to this lady who asks you to break the barrel over there and get some food that drops from it. The only problem is, I'd already broken the barrel and made the food before talking to her, so when the barrel spawned again, it didn't drop anything, and I couldn't make the food. Good start. You head to this city. I'm going to be mentioning it throughout this video, but the game feels like it wants to be Breath of the Wild so badly. I'll be mentioning all the similarities, and in some cases, identical things it has to Breath of the Wild, starting with the visuals. I get it, there are only so many things you can do with the visuals for an anime-styled game, but it literally looks like what if Breath of the Wild was released on a console that wasn't the Switch. From the clouds to the grass to cell shading that is only present on the characters. But I'm willing to overlook this because, one, it looks good visually, and two, as I said, there's only so many ways you can do the visual in an anime-styled game. Next, you head over to the city and you climb up any service. Again, very Breath of the Wild. You can even do the same little jump thing that depletes more stamina than climbing normally. Don't worry, the similarities don't end there either. Pretty much as soon as you get into the city, you're given these wings. Can you fly? No. You glide. Oh, what's the gliding like? Is it like the GTA parachutes? Is it like Just Cause? Oh, what's that? It's literally identical to the paraglider from Breath of the Wild. You just move along at a set speed. It feels so robotic, and for whatever reason the animation looks so goofy. I don't know why, as throughout what else I played, the animations are actually pretty good. It just looks so stupid. Also, I had both the vertical and horizontal camera movement set out of 4 out of 5 on the sensitivity. But for whatever reason, the vertical movement was so much slower than the horizontal. It felt so stiff that sometimes I'd avoid moving it vertically altogether. Also, side note, very nitpicky I know, but the textures on the castle here don't line up. Just, you know, it's the little things. Anyway, next we get the worst boss fight I've ever seen in my entire life. Worse than the end from Sonic Forces, that takes from doing. Like, what is this? It's such an immediate and radical change in gameplay style. The dragon doesn't even do anything, it's just there. You just hold R2 and then the boss fight is over. Next, we see some stolen enemies from Breath of the Wild. Like, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. It wants to be Breath of the Wild so badly. Look at them, this is the same enemy! Also, there's the, essentially the bokoblins as well. I really don't know what to say. Okay, next we have the shrines. Oh, sorry, I mean dungeons or temples. I don't know what they're called. I literally can't remember. By this point, I'd practically given up on life. I don't really know how to describe these. They're kind of like the shrines in Breath of the Wild, only without puzzles. They result in essentially walking forwards and 90% of the time, and the other 10% of the time you'll spend attacking enemies, which leads me on to the controls. Now, I'm pretty sure you can change the controls in the options, which is good, but the controls out of the box, or rather out of the download, feels so off to me. Circle is the attack button, triangle is a special attack, R2 is also a special attack that has a lower cooldown than the triangle one. You can dodge by tapping R1 and hold it to run, which depletes your stamina. A little clunky, I kept finding myself attacking when I meant to run. I'm sure you'll see a lot of that in the gameplay I recorded. But here's the real bad bit. When you hold the sprint button to run, you start to run. Your stamina starts to deplete. But when you let go of sprint, you keep running. The only way I could work out how to stop sprinting, once you've started, is to stop moving altogether, which is clunky and irritating and breaks the pace, or tapping the dodge button, which also consumes stamina. So if you dodge to stop sprinting when your stamina is too low, well, sucks to be you. I guess you have to wait for your stamina bar to fill back up. It's so clunky. Maybe I'm missing something, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I was, as this game shows you so many things. And there's menus within menus within menus. It throws things at you, here, there, everywhere. There's just so much going on. Again, another nitpick, but it's worth noting. You hold L1 to open this wheel where you can select many things. But rather than choosing said thing, for example the inventory, you hold L1, scroll down to the inventory, rather than letting go of L1 to select it, like is done in every other game that has this mechanic, you have to hold L1 still and let go of the right stick. It feels so unnatural. Everything in the game just feels like other games, but worse. It has some of the worst dialogue I've ever seen ever, or heard ever. Look at this. Listen to this.
Water! We can use this to put out fire!
Good idea. That's some keen observation. We should get Jean to give you a title and make you a knight.
It literally has ores stolen from Breath of the Wild, enemies stolen from Breath of the Wild, climbing and gliding stolen from Breath of the Wild, shrines stolen from Breath of the Wild, visuals stolen from Breath of the Wild, item wheels stolen from, like, every Rockstar game in the last 10 years. The menus are stupid and ugly and hard to learn, and you can only move through the menus using the left stick and not the D-pad. I just don't get it. In fact, the only thing I can think of that this game has that all the others I've mentioned don't is microtransactions. Also, the game requires you to be online at all times, even though, as far as I'm aware, it's only multiplayer if you invite others. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But if you have a dodgy internet or no online subscription, guess you can't play. Not that I know why you'd want to play, as this game is so horrid! It's not like it's glitchy. I didn't run into a single glitch other than the barrel run, and that was solved by just talking to the woman, because it counted that mission as complete because I already had the item I needed to complete it. For the most part, the visuals and animation are stellar. The music isn't really the main focus. In fact, I don't even know if there was music at all. I literally didn't notice it once. It's incredibly predatory with its microtransactions and loot box mechanics. It got repetitive before it even started. Basically, what I'm saying is, go and play Breath of the Wild instead. Or Sonic Frontiers. All biases aside, it did not deserve to lose to this. But Genshin has anime boobs, so if you like them, go ahead. Great game for you!